and Nina had deleted it without replying and blocked him. And that was that. She'd taken to lying on the couch in the front room late in the evening. She lay there and looked out the window at the street. The light wasn't on, nobody could see in. Not that Nina would care. Not caring was the most interesting part of this time of change, this dreamlike time. She had receded into some very quiet, very still inner zone, and from there she was watching herself no longer caring. This was, strangely, accompanied by a sense of panic. It was the dreadful, silent, squirming kind, very familiar to Nina. The panic was there in her inner sanctum, the place she was looking out from. But she'd come to realise that it was like a very small hurricane, almost ornamental, and if she kept still and did nothing, it just whirled away there beside her quite harmlessly. Across the road was a huge vacant block surrounded by a high chain-link fence. Every now and then someone came and mowed it, but in between mowings the grass got long and sometimes sprays of little flowers appeared, pink, yellow, white. Were they wildflowers, Nina wondered, or just flowering weeds? She wasn't sure what the difference was. Somehow people managed to dump things in the grass, broken bikes, prams, children's car seats. Nina didn't know how the people got these things over the fence. She didn't know why they bothered getting them over the fence. Why not just dump them on the street? It seemed an odd distinction to make. Why was it any more polite, any less irresponsible, to chuck your rubbish into a fenced vacant block than to just leave it on the nature strip? From the couch she couldn't see the grass or the piles of rubbish. She could just see the top of the fence, and beyond that, in the distance, the lights of the city skyscrapers, and above it, all the sky, which on this particular night was overcast, orangey, grey. It was chilly, and she pulled the blanket down and tried to throw it over herself without sitting up. She used her feet to grab the end and get it into place, undulating like a seal on a rocky beach. This was not in keeping with the tidiness of the room, its order, its tone, but who cared? There was no one to see her. Who cared even if someone was? The blanket was one her mother had given her, pale and darker blues in a chevron pattern. Gwen had got it at a sale. It was peeled now, but it looked all right folded over the back of the couch. The couch had cost a lot of money, and all Nina used it for was to lie on at night sometimes, by herself. She supposed that at least this meant the couch was still in very good condition. She could sell it. Perhaps she would. She could rent this room out to someone, a housemate. Would that be a good idea? She wasn't sure. Probably not. She had lived alone for such a long time and had grown accustomed to certain freedoms, certain privacies. What was it for, this room? This was one of the things she thought about on these nights. She didn't use it. When she brought men to the house, she didn't bring them into this room. She should say used to bring, when she used to bring men to the house. It was like a sort of display, with the nice couch and the sideboard and the pictures on the wall, a showroom or a set, carefully curated to indicate what? That this was a house? A home? Where a family might live. A family with Nina, plus another adult in it, and children, or at least pets. But Nina was 37, and she lived by herself. That hadn't happened for her, a family, a home. And it hadn't happened for them either, Amber and Meg, Nina's sisters. They didn't even have their own family anymore. And a year and a half ago, their father had died, and their mother had either turned into or been revealed to be a strange, far-away woman who didn't look anyone in the eye. And anyway, even before that, the three of them, Nina and her sisters, well, you could hardly call it a family. It must be late. She didn't want to sleep here. She didn't want to fall into that habit. The couch would get worn out, and also she didn't want the room to become too familiar. She liked the way it made her think when she visited it. She liked the ideas it provided, selling the couch, getting a housemate, ideas that even with their slightly narcotic edge of self-delusion,